Hello, everybody, and welcome into this deep dive into everything I could find out about the upcoming Splatoon 3 DLC. I have done a lot of reading and a lot of watching the trailers, getting a glimpse of every image they put out. I tried to find as much information as I could about what we'll be doing and what everything that they're showing off means. But first off, Side Order is coming out February 22nd. We are only a week away, which is very exciting news. So without further ado, I'm just gonna hop into it. So if you have no idea what Side Order is, it is Splatoon 3's DLC, the second wave of it, and it is a roguelite game mode, not a roguelike. Roguelite, Lite, not Like. A roguelike game is where a player is sent through a cycle of gameplay, usually where the map or the world is procedurally generated, which means it's unique every time you play through, and it's unique to every player, so no match is ever going to be the same. But upon the death cycle, you lose everything you earn in a roguelike, Like. So you lose all your progress, and you basically have to start from zero. A roguelite, Lite, which is what Splatoon 3's DLC is basically the same concept where you restart every time and you run through the game, but after each cycle of gameplay, so after you either clear the game or you lose, which sounds like it's going to happen a lot in Side Order, you get progress points, experience, yada yada. In this game, it's pearls that you use to upgrade your character and upgrade your gear, and so each playthrough gets a little easier, and things get a little bit better to hopefully make you go a little farther. So that's the difference between a roguelike, Like, and a roguelite. Starting off, we get the same bleached look at Inkopolis that we've seen before in previous trailers. We're playing as Agent 8, who somehow got brought into this distorted digital version of Inkopolis Square that we're familiar with. If you don't know who Agent 8 is, or if you've never played Splatoon 2, Inkopolis Square is basically the hub area of that game. And Agent 8 is the player character who you use throughout the DLC Octo expansion. It's the first time we ever got to play as an Octoling, and after clearing Octo expansion, you then unlock the ability to play as an Octoling in Splatoon 2. Just in case you're unfamiliar, I know we have a lot of people who just started with Splatoon 3. I myself just entered Splatoon by playing Splatoon 2. I never played the original Splatoon because I never owned a Wii U. But in Splatoon, we're playing as Agent 8, who somehow got brought into this distorted digital version of Inkopolis Square that we're familiar with. Deca Tower, which was the main lobby for playing the game, the multiplayer, has been converted into a structure known as the Spire of Order. It appears to consist of 30 floors, which must be faced in succession, with a floor boss fought on every 10th floor. On each floor, we are given objectives and difficulties to choose from before entering. Along with each difficulty selection, we are offered a color chip, which will enhance our player's capabilities. I'll discuss these in depth later on. Once inside, we must face schools of Jelletons, a brand new enemy, while pursuing the completion of our objective. If we fail to survive or complete our objective, we lose all of the embarks we've earned so far, as well as all of our color chips. These get converted into pearls, which can be used for permanent upgrades, which will be discussed later on. Thus, our cycle begins anew. But with the upgrades and experience we gained from previous run-throughs, hopefully it goes a little better. We don't know what happens after the 30th floor or who will face up there, but it likely has something to do with Marina, who has been eerily kind of missing since the launch of Splatoon 3. We wind up meeting two familiar characters in this distorted Inkopolis. Acht, a DJ with the stage name Deadfish, whose music can be heard throughout Splatoon 2's Octo expansion. Acht allowed themselves to become sanitized during Splatoon 2's Octo expansion in order to devote themselves to nothing but their music. Sanitized beings have no vital signs and were previously mind-controlled by the Combico of the Octo expansion. Here we can see Acht allowing us to enter the Spire of Order, but it's unclear so far as to what role they play inside Order. They admit to being a bystander who also got trapped in the Order world. They appear to have been here for a while, as they have knowledge of the tower and how the color chips work. They're seen giving us our first color chip. The other character we see early on is Pearl, who has either become a drone or has had her consciousness placed in one. It's kind of unclear. Later on in footage, we do see Pearl's physical body, so maybe we rescue her or restore her or something along those lines. It's really unclear, and I've kind of gotten different vibes from different sources. While we're on the subject of Pearl, we have to talk about her Pearl drone. The Pearl drone is kind of like the little buddy who follows you around throughout the Splatoon 3 regular campaign. However, it has much more better features than Little Buddy does. It has several features such as throwing bombs and specials, aiming, and acting as a paraglider. These abilities, called action slots, can be seen on the right hand side and work on a timer system. We can unlock these as we go using pearls, but once the timer is full, the pearl drone will use that weapon, and this timer can seem to be reset with chain, so killing enemies back to back. I'm not sure if it's just one chain or after several chains, or if like each chain is like a little boost, or after like maybe 5 chains you get a full rotation. I'm not exactly sure, but we do see these action slots fill up as we get more and more chains. Side Order is meant to be a tough DLC that's going to have a lot of replayability, but also take you a while. Probably the average player will probably take many attempts to get through 30 floors. Every reviewer or previewer that I've seen has said it is very difficult, so it sounds like the Pearl Drone will be quite the lifesaver in this DLC. In order to power up and unlock more of Pearl Drone's features, we will have to use the DLC currency, appropriately called Pearls. These can be earned by clearing levels, as well as having your color chips converted into Pearls after each run or upon losing your run in the Spire. These Pearls can be used permanently to upgrade both the Pearl Drone and Agent 8, making each subsequent run through a little bit easier, and we'll go to more depth about how that happens later on. So what are color chips? These handy contraptions are the backbone of Agent 8's run in the Spire of Order. Each floor will grant you a color chip, which will act as the ability upgrades, similar to ability chunks in the main game. There are 62 color chips available that we know about so far, and there are 6 different abilities: power, support, range, mobility, lucky, and drone. Power upgrades your weapon's strength. Support does things like refill your tank faster, refill your gauges. Range adds to the range of both your weapons and your specials. Mobility is unique in that it not only applies to your movement, but also your ability to escape the horde of enemies around you. Like, there are some that, once your armor breaks, give you like a boost or a jump. We'll probably see more of that as more news comes out. Lucky increases your odds of dropping items after destroying enemies, such as the armor and ink refills and gauge fills, as well as these mini bombs that explode after defeating a couple enemies. You unlock these with a certain chip, and once you unlock that, you have the chance to drop these mini bombs. And then lastly, we have our drone, which upgrades our pearl drone. These color chips greatly impact performance and grant strength even greater than what we've seen in the busted Grisco weapons. Each floor allows the player to choose a difficulty and a corresponding color chip before entering. Difficulty ranges from easy, normal, hard, and the occasional rigorous. These difficulties also influence the number of min-bucks you get after clearing a floor, as well as the color chip you're going to be receiving. As you climb, the floor gets harder, and it is even possible to be offered only hard and rigorous difficulties. It's clear to see what the influence the color chip has on the player and weapon performance, but something you might not have immediately noticed is how the color chip on your palette influences not only your ink color, but also Agent 8's fingertips and hair accents. This gives us a similar aesthetic matching Shiver, Fry, Marina, and Acht's colored fingers. Hopefully this is something that we can then bring over into the main multiplayer of Splatoon 3. Upon completion of a run through the Spire, or after failing to complete it, your color chips will be converted into the aforementioned pearls, PRLZ. Time for a little math, but it's easy, I promise. Each color chip you earn grants the player 500 points, and having a chain of the same color adds an additional 100 points and increases with every continued chain. So a chain of 2 grants 1100 points instead of just 1000, and a chain of 3 grants 1800 points instead of just 1500, etc. Color chips make up the majority of the points earned, but you can also gain points from a 1-to-1 conversion of min-bucks. These are your reward for clearing each floor. You also see the number of min-bucks you'll earn on the difficulty screen before you choose. Dividing your total points from color chips and min-bucks gives you the number of pearls you earn from each run. So 1525 pearls, as seen in this clip, divided by 100 rounds up to 156 pearls, and you'll want as many pearls as possible because upgrades aren't cheap. In the Japanese trailer, we can see the second life costing 30 pearls to obtain. Quick glance at the English trailer upgrade screen shows us that a third life costs 90 pearls, and then the fourth costs twice as many, requiring 180 to purchase. Other character upgrades that can be bought with pearls include reduced damage, armor upgrades, broken armor jump upgrades, which I kind of talked about earlier, and the pearl drone receives action slots, a drone gauge turf charge, which I believe is the pearl drone's inking gauge filling up faster. And a third upgrade to the pearl drone can be seen on the Japanese website, which translates roughly to drone trap. It has the ink mine symbol, so perhaps it drops ink mines every so often and relates to sub weapons in general. I know not everyone loves ink mines, but I'm a big fan of them. So I would love having pearl drone drop ink mines for me just to kind of have my back. One last quick note about pearls is there seems to be a shop run by a new character in the Order world where we can spin points to buy gear, stickers, and decorations that carry over into the main Splatoon 3 multiplayer game. The owner of the shop's name, translated from Japanese, is Ume'ebi. This translates directly to Dream Shrimp. Ume'ebi appears to be based on a Lucifer crustacean, which is a type of shrimp family. And you can see this if you directly look up the Ume'ebi name in Japanese, which is exactly what I did, and this was the only thing that popped up. They have a similar appearance with their long translucent body and bulbous eyes, but that's as far as like I'm really gonna say. It's pretty cut and dry case. If you look up the Japanese characters for Ume'ebi, it will bring you directly to the Dream Shrimp Lucifer crustacean family, which is exactly what I did. Pallets. Pallets are the weapon kits we get in Splatoon 3 side order. Each pallet is associated with a different character from Splatoon 3 and has 36 slots for color chips to be attached to. There are 11 pallets confirmed. We only know a few of the characters so far. We know Pearl has dualies, Marie's kit has a charger, Fry's kit has a stamper, Marina's kit has a splatbrella, DJ Octavio has a splatling, and the Octarians have a splatter shot. And although we don't know all of the characters attached, we do know the starting kits for all 11 weapons. Dualies have the curling bomb and the brief slider, Brellas have the sprinkler and the inkstorm, Splattershot has the splat bomb and the trizuka, Stamper has the fizz bomb and the crab tank, Luna Blaster has the curling bomb and the wave breaker, Roller has the burst bomb and the Kraken Royale, Octobrush has the ink mine and the ultra stamp, Tri-Stringer has the toxic mist and the killer whale 5.1, the Charger has the ink mine with the triple ink strike, and the Slosher has the section bomb and triple ink strike as well. While we're talking about kits, I should bring up these unique floors that have the vending machine on them and can be seen on the floor route screen. I'm unsure if the whole floor is just a vending machine floor, kind of like safe area, or if you have the option to use the vending machine before entering or after clearing the floor. But these vending machines allow you to change the sub and special weapons, allowing for more kit combinations. This is exciting news because being able to use weapons with kits that you're more familiar with and enjoy a little bit more is good news, and this isn't something we're able to do in the normal Splatoon 3 gameplay. So it'll be exciting to make custom kits, especially while trying to survive these difficult floors. Although I'm unclear on the cost of swapping around weapons, I assume it will likely cost you membucks, which is what we earn by clearing floors. So make sure you earn enough by clearing tougher difficulties while you're climbing the tower so you can use the vending machine when you reach them. These pallets appear to be unlocked by reaching certain floors and obtaining keys. Each weapon has 3 keys it can earn. The keys unlock lockers that are located outside of the Spire of Order. In a similar way, you have to play with new weapons to unlock more shell-in tickets. You'll have to try out multiple pallets to unlock all of them. There are additional lockers that hold special items that likely pertain to the story, but it's unclear what they are. There appear to be a total of 36 lockers with a total of 11 kits that earns 33 keys. Maybe there are keys given for clearing boss floors for the first time or for clearing the whole tower at various difficulties, I'm not sure. There also appears to be a large screen or vault in the middle of the lockers. It has a key logo on it, so maybe it's just the interface for unlocking the lockers or something special for unlocking all of them. Each kit also has its own preset buffs to start off with. For example, that SRB2 dude reports that Splattershot has extra range and mobility buffs. Brella has drone and power buffs. Dualies have lucky and support buffs. Luna Blasters has range and power buffs. And Octobrush has a mobility and lucky buffs. From the Japanese website, we can confirm 2 more kits. Stamper having the lucky and drone buffs, and Splatling having drone and support buffs. That leaves only 4 more kit buffs unaccounted for. While climbing the tower, we have the opportunity to run across 2 types of special floors: danger floors and bonus floors. Danger floors are reported to show up during the difficulty selection screen. You'll see the danger floor, which will attach to one of the difficulties. You'll have the option to not select the danger floor, but it won't disappear until you clear it. Choosing not to clear the danger floor on lower levels runs the risk of accumulating danger floors on all difficulties as you progress until you won't have the option but to pick one. Sounds pretty intense, so make sure you clear out these danger floors as they present themselves, so as you climb the tower you're not stuck with more and more. These danger floors present unique challenges such as covering all terrain in black gelatin ink, or reducing your visibility with fog, or increasing enemy difficulty in general. Bonus floors are the other type of special floor we can find. The first type of bonus floor is the bonus cash floor. On these floors, you will be rewarded with extra currency for meeting set conditions. Failing to meet all the conditions will result in less and less bonus cash. The other bonus floor is called the color saturation. On this floor, your palette will be filled with color chips of one type until you clear that floor, giving you an extra boost in power for one floor only. Floor objectives. So far we know of 5 floor objectives. Destroy the portals, where Agent 8 must destroy the gelatin portals scattered across the floor that are spawning gelatins. Defeat the fleeing foes, destroy the sunflesh gelatins that flee from Agent 8. Infinity Ball, guide an Infinity Ball to its designated spot on the floor, or multiple, a similar event to the 8 balls found in Octo expansion. Splat zones, hold a splat zone or multiple for a designated time. Turbine Tower, Agent 8 must shoot a turbine tower in order to move it across the floor along its designated path, similar to tower control, but instead of riding it, you're shooting it with your ink. Jelletons. The brand new enemies found in the Spire of Order. The Jelletons, being a portmanteau for the word jelly and skeletons, get their name from the black jelly that surrounds their fishy skeletons. We don't know much about them at this point in time, just that they seem dead set on harassing Agent 8. We do see many varieties of Jelletons. I counted about 11 different varieties, excluding 2 boss types that we've seen. The first 3 are simple Jelletons, just varying in size from small, medium, and large. They don't seem to do much other than chase and charge Agent 8 around the map. However, the large Jelletons can be seen spawning in with smaller Jelletons, like the Barnacle and Sprinkler types I'll talk later on their backs. There's a flying type gelatin that has a sprinkler-like bone structure on the top of its body, while its jelly-like body flops and sags below. These will seem being spawned in on the large generic gelatins, but they will fly on their own once their large gelatin partner is killed. Then we see a gelatin variety that reminds me a bit of a barnacle, maybe? It appears to have a 3-part bony structure at its bottom and then protrudes its jelly-like form from the top. The protrusion will shrink back into its shell and begin spinning horizontally, giving it great mobility and jelly or inking, somewhat reminiscent of like a curling bomb effect, but just a little bit faster. They will also dismount their large gelatin partner once killed. It also appears to have a chance to leave behind a special item when dropped, like its bony shell. And if you hit this item, it will spin around really quickly, shooting ink and knocking out enemies. Next, we have this tall sniper seahorse-shaped tower gelatin. It has 4 layers of armored bone with a bubble of black jelly where its laser pointer eyes set at the top and ready to take shots at you. It seems to have very low mobility. We then come across a sunfish-shaped gelatin that has a wheel protruding from its body. This gelatin is made for high mobility. We see some floors where this gelatin runs away from you because the objective is to defeat all of its kind while being swarmed by other gelatins. There are also these lamprey-like gelatins we see as well. They have this springy mouth used to bounce around the map and above other gelatins to reach you. Once they reach you, they do like a miniature splashdown kind of attack, as seen in some Japanese footage. The lampreys seem to also have a chance to leave behind a spring mechanism after dying. This is likely a one-time use opportunity to jump out of danger and use the pearl drone to glide somewhere safer if you're getting swarmed. This was not shown in any footage that I've seen, but after more research was mentioned in a video by the Good Vibes Gaming crew. In the background of mini scenes, we see this blob of a gelatin that kind of reminds me a bit of the Pokemon Cursula, so maybe it's meant to resemble a type of coral reef structure or like an anemone of some kind. It has a base, which is the blob I was talking about, with 7 branches that seem to appear and have what look like egg sacs at the end of each branch. Each of these branches will glow red before shooting a projectile type anglerfish gelatin. This anglerfish gelatin flies and tracks down the player, likely before exploding, coming into contact. Lastly, there's a bivalve type gelatin, maybe like a clam or an oyster of some sort. Upon opening its shell, it shoots up a sphere that I think is a bomb, using a spout of jelly or ink. The bomb can be shot down or damaged with the player's ink, which can then cause the clam or gelatin to explode upon defeat. As we go through each floor and defeat waves of enemies, they have various dropped items. As mentioned earlier, lampreys drop springs that allow you to jump up and get away from danger, and barnacles drop a spinning top item as well. This top bounces around, damaging enemies and leaving an ink trail, much like the barnacle gelatin does itself. But there's also standard drops we're used to seeing in the single player campaign. Armored briefcases, special gauge ups, and ink refills. There are also clips of the player picking up a dropped item that is then used by a pearl drone to create a large energy shield. I wouldn't be surprised if we see pearls drops or Mimbugs drops as well. However, there was one drop item that intrigued me. You can see the player pick up a disc piece drop on the bouncy stage footage. It then fills 1/3 of the disc gauge on the right hand side of the screen. Currently, I have no idea what it could be used for, but it's something to keep an eye on. Boss fights appear at floors 10, 20, and 30. We only know the names of one boss at this time, the Pinging Marciale. Marciale being an Italian word that kind of means march. Take that for what it's worth. Pinging Marciale is a sphere gelatin that hides in a shell that appears to have nodes of some sort on each side. A clamp zipper-like structure can be seen running down the seam of the sphere, on which the face of the gelatin can be seen. This clamp can be seen getting covered in the black jelly substance and has multiple eyes, likely when the boss is vulnerable to ink attacks. The ping Marchiali rolls around and charges at the player, attempting to either run them over or knock them off the stage. The only other boss we see is the large tornado-shaped boss. We aren't given a name, but we see that the player shoots at surfaces on its various layers that appear to be weak points. We also see the boss rotating and shooting ink strikes out at the player while being swarmed by other smaller gelatins. Another boss fight that we know of via Abdallah Smash on YouTube is a series of waves of inkling, octoling-like creatures that use a variety of Splatoon weaponry. They come out in waves of 3 or 4 or 5 at a time. We don't see this or have any footage of it, but he did get a preview of the game, and so I'm reporting it. Thank you for watching this far. If you've made it this far, honestly, thank you for watching and thank you for keeping up. This has taken me a lot longer to produce than I wanted it to. But up next, we have a look at who might be the big bad behind Side Order. So if you're looking to avoid spoilers, you might not want to continue watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you want more Side Order content, I'll be covering it on launch day and probably smaller clips as we continue to get more through Twitter. So if you don't mind liking and subscribing, that would be awesome. No pressure. And thanks, and I hope to see you as we clear the Spire of Order. So here comes a bit of spoiler content, potentially, as well as a little bit of speculation on my side. This is the only time I kind of become speculative without really any concrete evidence behind me. But, you know, I made a 7-page script, so I'll speculate if I want to. Anyways, this is your last warning, because here comes potential spoilers. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Order Entity. Vooks has reported that the Order Entity is responsible for corrupting the digital version of Inkopolis Square that we find ourselves in. The entity is likely the large red face we saw in the overview trailer. It has been pretty evident throughout the footage that we are in some kind of digital space, but it is nice to have confirmation. The Japanese website also directly mentions using pearls to hack into the program to boost our character stats. So that's how those upgrades work. We're actually using pearls to hack into the computer system and then boost. Another news outlet, Pocket Tactics, revealed the motivation behind this entity is that it is angry at the chaos resulting from the final Splatfest of Splatoon 2, Chaos vs. Order. My best guess is that the Order entity is somehow a creation of Marina's gone astray or unexpectedly a result of her programming and creation abilities. We know that Marina is technologically skilled. It is evident through her hacking of the Kamibu Corporation during Octo expansion, as well as her ability to design shifty stations for the Splatfests. So here's my best guess as to what's going on. This is purely speculative, me throwing just what's come to my mind as I've been studying everything. So take this with the biggest grain of salt possible. This is just me talking, and I'm not, as much as I love Splatoon, I'm not 100% caught up on all the lore and all of the smaller minute details. So this is my own theory that I've kind of looked back on given what I know. So here's my best guess of what's going on. Marina, after losing the Chaos vs. Order Splatfest, decided to make a digital world / stage that resembled Inkopolis Square. Something similar to the shifty stations she designed, but I guess in a digital world. But it is resembling her ideal and version of what Order and what that world might look like. I think Marina's desire for order comes from her past growing up in the oppression of the Octarian society. In the Chaos vs. Order Splatfest, Marina even mentions beginning to design her perfect world after voicing her concerns over losing her friend Pearl and the other DJs who have come to mean so much to her. In the Chaos vs. Order Splatfest, as it was being announced, Pearl and Marina kind of had this dialogue where Pearl wanted to see the world reshaped into chaos, and Marina was very outspoken about how she was afraid what that might look like for them and Off the Hook. And so that she voiced a lot of fear, saying she didn't want to lose the people who came to mean so much to her. But she was eventually talked into being okay with it, and she said she was going to design her perfect world. It is likely that the Side Order takes place in that designed world. The one Marina built out of fear of losing the hope and light she gained from after leaving the Octarian society. Although after winning, Pearl mentioned that the only change she really wanted to see was to have Off the Hook move into different genres of music. I think she even said she specifically wanted them to break and hesitated before saying break into different genres to kind of like freak out Marina. It was pretty easy to see, although it is pretty easy to see how the theme of chaos affected the final results of Splatoon 3. This leaves the what could have been of the chaos world left to Marina's imagination. Perhaps Marina accidentally built some AI to govern her world of order, or unbeknownst to her, formed one of its own will. It's unclear, but we do know Marina makes a return, as her voice can be heard in the upgrade screens, and she has been mentioned by several news outlets. And Pearl and Marina are going to be obviously huge players in this DLC. So I'm thinking that all of this is some creation of Marina's gone completely out of whack. Even though after the Spotfest everything was super chill, it ended, you know, it wasn't disastrous like Marina had expected. It was just a funny joke, honestly. But I do think Marina built something, either some kind of program or some stage that ended up getting taken over by this order entity. But that's just my speculation, and we'll find out soon enough next week. But that's everything I was able to dig up on the Side Order DLC releasing next week. If there's anything I missed or got wrong, be sure to let me know, and I would love to hear what you guys' thoughts are on what's actually happening and what's going on. And if you agree with me, let me know, because I would love to have some support on my theory, because I think it's pretty fun. Anyways, if you'd like, subscribe and stick around for my full coverage of Side Order when it releases next week. I will be playing it on launch day, and I will be releasing content that day. I might stream it if my internet can handle it. We'll see. But anyways, if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and thanks for listening to me ramble. I had a lot of fun making this, and I hope you guys are as excited about this DLC as I am. And if you want to see my sources, I will have them linked down in the bio. Wow? Yeah. Later.